Hello and welcome. We are here with the Million Mom Movement community for our once a month Lunch and Learn series. So I'm really excited to be a part of this again this month. I got to host last month as well. My name is Carmela Velarde. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm one of the Million Mom Movement Council members, one of 5, and I'm very proud about the series to share specifically this topic, which I'll get into in just a moment. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about the history of what is Lunch and Learn. What is this series all about? Well, Stephanie Dawn, our chair, had this idea together in a meeting with a council, and then also with Amy Venner, who approved this to be topics about wellness for the community. And these are topics that we don't traditionally speak about with our trainings, with our superfood training, with our business training. So we get to dive deeper into the community and the hearts of the people who are going through these wellness issues, maybe we can call them. But really, how does this lifestyle that we are supporting and promoting and helping other people with, how is it that they are using our lifestyle to better themselves? And so we get to talk about things that are really important to so many people in our Million Mom Movement community. We're a movement of many, so we're not just mothers, we're caregivers. We're people who care about and caretake for those in the future generations. So we are the nutrition source, we're the education portal for our families. And this is a big responsibility that all of us are sharing. So here we get to show you how to, and we get to address topics that are really important to, I think, so many, and they will become more important as we're growing our community. So we have a YouTube channel that these videos will be logged in to be able to share. And these links, we want them to be shared. We want them to have comments on them. Please, by all means, bring people, subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook, our Instagram official pages, and connect with the community. So if you can come on with video, great. We would love to see you, because these testimonials are from people who are extremely excited to share their story, because it's a vulnerable story. It's their story of their birth into prenatal, into conception. So yes, please do come on camera if you're able. Now, I'm excited specifically to have brought this topic to the table because I'm a prenatal yoga teacher and I'm a mother of 2. I'd studied with the Khalsa Way, which is a Kundalini yoga practice, and understanding in utero what we can do to help to transform the health and the future of our children. We need to speak up. We need to share and educate more people, more families who are looking for this really high level upgraded lifestyle that we know we have in our hands, but how do we share it with others? Well, we're here today to share testimonials. And we have a beautiful thing that happened in our community wherein our founder, our formulator, just had a baby. And the wife, Annie Ybarra, she was so beautifully transparent about her birthing journey, her prenatal journey, what she used as the products. And we want you to connect with us, see how the founder, the formulator of our company, our superfoods, how did he build his own baby? Like, isn't that amazing? We have this inside scoop. So there is a specific post on a page. So I want you guys to go, if you're on Facebook, go to Sacred Superfoods, Birth and Beyond. Stephanie Dawn has created this wonderful page. It's in tandem with the Million Mom Movement. So we are also administrators. So we're here to help answer questions, connect the community. If you have questions, please bring them there. Bring people and invite them to our community, please, because that's where we can have a discussion, create more solutions for our communities. When we don't have the solutions ourselves, ask the community. So I do want to share that I've been using these superfoods for 7.5 years. I am a mother of 2. I did not have my baby on superfoods, but I had nursed my children with these superfoods. So that's my back history. I've been also a holistic practitioner for 22 years and owned a wellness center. So I'm very married to the natural process. The natural process is where really the holistic lifestyle that we in Purium are focused on helping other people to adopt, because the outside world And there's a lot of misinformation, books and media that might tell you differently than we're saying. But we're here in this community because we are an organic community. We believe in whole food plant sources for our foods. We believe in nutrient density as, the main source of our fuel. So this is the superfood lifestyle. And I absolutely will not do this Zoom without sharing the core four. The core four is our foundation. It's our foundation. And when I talk about the core four, I talk about it as a superfood meal. It's a meal. So it's the protein, the fruits, the vegetable, and the gut cleanser. Look at it as that. When you're teaching people how to swap out a meal, tell them one core four is one meal. And for women who are in gestation period, which is about 40 weeks, there's so much opportunity to get this nutrition into their bodies to build their placenta, their baby, and also keep integral blood health so that the mama is not being drained from their bones, all these minerals and nutrients. So we stay in our best, most vibrant health as a pregnant mama. Okay, so I do want you to go to our Sacred Superfoods page and search Annie Ibarra's post that shares her top products. Now, she lists the core four, and the core four is the Super Amino 23. This is a vegan pre-digested protein tablet. It is a pre-digested protein, so it's from a non-soy legume, and it only requires 1% digestive energy to get it into the body, usable as energy, and it is anabolic. It helps you to build muscle. So when you're pregnant, yes, be active. Absolutely, walk a lot, do your yoga as well. And it's so important to be in motion, but building muscle integrity, you may not want to lift heavy as you were previously. So you will want these super aminos because they're integral with building collagen, with also building more lean muscle mass when you may not be as active as you once were. And then I always pair it with a flex food. And then the apothecary at night, so crucial for mamas. Why? Antioxidants. The amount of stress our body is going through when we are constantly changing these hormones to build this baby. This time in utero, we need a lot of antioxidants, 7,500 ORAC points of antioxidants in just one serving of our apothecary that's recommended. And deep quality of sleep and restfulness, rejuvenation. Our bodies require this. The number one link to breast cancer is antioxidant deficiencies. So how can we prevent this while pregnant? Well, just making sure you have adequate enough of antioxidant support. And then the power shake, right? The power shake is so important. If you don't know about the power shake, this alkalines your blood chemistry, your pH by 40%, drinking one a day. This is incredible in alkalinity. If you need to cool a lot of women have acid reflux, have heat in their system, heartburn, all these acidic tendencies because the energy required in our system to build these babies it's so much heat, and we want to decrease inflammation. Why? So that everything flows well into the baby, into the umbilical cord. So 6 to 7 servings of a superfood salad. We can't sit down and eat all this when we're pregnant and we're growing, maybe in the we call it fourth trimester, but the third trimester, because, well, sometimes we just don't feel like eating a lot. We just don't have the stomach for it. And the first person who's going to be sharing, who's actually a brand partner and dear friend of mine, she had a great experience of saying, I really couldn't eat much. And I leaned on this because there was nothing else I could eat. I mean, imagine that. A mama who was like, I need to feed this baby. I can't eat. This is a problem, right? When we have this as a solution, wow. The alkalinity here, it's like medicine. I call it my daily medicine. And then last, but absolutely not least, and it's the reason why we stand out alone as a movement, is because we address gut health. The Biomedic is a formula from a third-party test. These statistics I'm going to share with you is really profound. we can detoxify glyphosate, which is the active ingredient of Roundup, from the gut microbiome by 74% within 6 weeks of anybody taking it. So if you have a load, maybe you're older as well, or maybe had not adopted the organic lifestyle just till recently, you have definitely loaded your body with glyphosate, herbicides, other artificial chemicals that might just be sitting there. And what happens is in prenatal gestation, it goes through the umbilical cord. Yes, it does. It's been proven to be found in the umbilical cord of babies, and we can't allow the next generation to take on our toxic load, because we know that it does increase the incidence of autism, behavioral issues, hyperactive disorders. We need to help nip that in the bud this generation. This is the time to take a stand through nutrition. So I would love to start to introduce my first guest, Ashley Sperver. She is an intuitive chef, a holistic practitioner of many years. I met her about 4 to 5 years ago, 4 years, and she became a brand partner, 5, and incredible story of her conception and into her prenatal. I mean, she shared so beautifully how she went through her prenatal care, self-care. So Ashley Sperver over there in New Jersey at the moment. I would love for you to come off mute and share, how did these superfoods and how did this lifestyle affect you? And I'll ask you secondly, because I know it's a loaded question, what did you use during this time period?
So I'm actually calling in from Germany right now. That's why it's pitch black where I am. But I do reside in Jersey temporarily until I relocate over here in Germany. But thank you so much for having me on today, Carmela. This is a topic I'm super passionate about. I have lots of women who inquire about what I did during my pregnancy, specifically because my son is incredibly healthy and well, go ahead. You asked the first question because I don't want to go on my tangent because I can always do that. How did the product serve me? So the best way for me to share that is that I wouldn't consider myself as being infertile because I wasn't actively trying to conceive, but I wasn't not trying to conceive. I was in a partnership for 4 years with someone where I was not using contraception because if we had an accident, I was really open to it. And that never happened over 4 years. And I had a very colorful lifestyle before. So I think that may have put me in a position to not be as fertile. And I did end up getting pregnant and by accident but because I was using a very strict regimen of products, because when I recognized that I wasn't getting pregnant, I said, okay, well, there's definitely something awry here. And I very much committed to using the products that would enhance my hormones. And when that happened, he arrived. So that's how the beginning of the journey started.
Love that. And so take us to the next step, because I love that you were so public about sharing, and not so much after when the baby was born. And I know that was a choice for your own family, but during your prenatal care, share with us what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of walk you guys into the journey. So at first, I had already been taking Core 4 religiously because we know that that's the bread and butter of the company, and that if you really want to detox, that's what's required. So I was taking that, and then I decided to up the ante and actually take on the athletes program. So when I started to consume Can't Beat This and the MVP and the Super Life formula, that is when I ended up conceiving. I had done a 40-day prior to me getting pregnant, and that's what I truly believe was responsible for clearing and enhancing my hormones. So when my first trimester, I had a very, very difficult time consuming vegetables. And we all know that every pregnancy is different. And for some reason, anything that was green really turned me off. So the Power Shake literally saved me, because being a health coach, it was really disconcerting that I was not getting vegetables into my diet. And thank God, because the Power Shake is not only palatable, but delicious, I was still able, because it's sweet and it has that really dense macronutrition as well as micronutrition, that saved me during my first trimester. And then during that period, I kept with the core 4, and that was really all I felt like I needed at that time. But then things shifted a lot into the second trimester, as they usually do. My palate changed, my ability to consume whatever I wanted changed, everything opened up for me. But with that also came the heartburn, because because I didn't eat my first trimester. During the second trimester, I was like, I want to eat everything because I haven't eaten for 3 months. And then everything was acid. So then I was needing the Allo Digest on a daily basis. And I was also pregnant during the summertime. So I wanted to walk around as much as possible, as Carmela was recommending. So the cocoa hydrate also saved me. It's a beautiful mixture with the Allo Digest. And so that was kind of how I would refresh myself throughout the day, with the combination of those two. But I'm sure a lot of the mamas know that I hit a roadblock with my bowel movements. I'm just going to be totally transparent here, because that's what we do here. And I was really constipated. I needed the daily fiber blend, and Carmela was the one who actually recommended to me that if you mix it with the apothecary, it's really delicious. So I was taking it at bedtime and waking up in the morning and have really nice movements, which saved my life, because hemorrhoids. And then going into the third trimester, oh, and by the way, this is something that I found out from Dave, which was it was a lifesaver, because guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When I went through puberty, I had stretch marks everywhere, on my legs, on my chest. It's just a known thing that in my bloodline, we get stretch marks. I took the super xanthan starting in the second trimester, because he had shared that it really changes the composition of your skin. And people told me all the time, they're like, you are glowing. And I'm like, it's the super xanthan. And didn't get a single stretch mark. I was so nervous that I would have a belly full of stretch marks, didn't get a single one, which was amazing. And then going into the third, and I took enzymes the whole time as well, because from studying traditional Chinese medicine and herbalism, I could tell that the tooth impressions on my tongue was an indication that I wasn't absorbing as much as I should. So I was taking enzymes with all of my meals. And then going into the third trimester, the CBD, I had all this anxiety. I really consciously worked through this as a practitioner, because I want to be, a viable coach to my clients and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, all of this anxiety started to surface, like, you're not ready for this. You're going to push this out of where? Like, it was just like my body and my mind were not in coherence at that time. And the anxiety really started to surface. And the CBD supported me in alleviating that, and also helped promoting healthy sleep. So I trained all the way to week 38. I was weight training. So I did take the MVP as well. That's not something that I always recommend. You can take it throughout your whole pregnancy, but I, because of the amount of protein that I felt like I needed for weight training all the time, I did take the MVP consistently. And the last thing that I'll share is I was on the green spectrum, because I have hypothyroidism, and that fluctuated significantly during my pregnancy. Obviously, your thyroid goes all over the place when you're pregnant. So because of the potent source of iodine from the seaweeds that are in the green spectrum, that also really helps support me and the baby. Yeah.
Wow. So, okay. I loved so many. I didn't want to interrupt you because you're on a roll with this list.
Sorry.
No, it's amazing information, because that's why I wanted you to come on, because you had such an incredible experience with these products and how they've helped you. So, I mean, I saw you at the convention, very pregnant, and for you to share, if you guys saw how pregnant she was and she had no stretch marks. I mean, the super xanthan, the coconut oil that we have, the tropic oil, and just our products. And, you know, when she was also sharing that she could not eat greens, and she was like, oh my God, how do I not eat greens when I'm pregnant and I'm getting all this acid? How else? And everybody's concerned because it's written in even non-holistic books how important folic acid or folate is. And there's a big discrepancy between folate and folic acid, but definitely lean to folate. It's more healthy and honestly less questionable in general as a focus, but it's vitamin B9, I believe. And when you're getting it from a green food source like our green superfoods, like she said, the green spectrum, the power shake, it's a life and game changer. And this is so important for all of us to consider. And then the iodine, right, in the products. Oh, something that you should avoid, that we have as our in our product line. Are there some things that you shouldn't be taking in with prenatal? I don't know if you were aware of that, Ashley. I know that the Love Super Meal, because you were in the holistic pack, fitness pack, and you were going for your fitness, which was, I mean, ladies, men, women going for like working out and the holistic pack while pregnant. It's ambitious, and more women we encourage to actually be doing this, because it will give you an easy and more easy labor, really. Did you want to share anything more on the products that you were using? Cocoa hydrate, you said. Mm-hmm.
The only thing I wanted to add, which is a really important thing to highlight, is that I had zero, I'm not exaggerating, zero pain and zero inflammation, no swelling whatsoever my entire pregnancy. People could not believe that. So, and I attribute it all to these products for sure. That's one thing I wanted to highlight. Yeah.
Huge. And because you had that acid during your probably, and all women are concerned, especially being a first pregnancy, how will the labor go? And so the best thing you can do is to consume these alkaline products so that you can reduce the inflammation and for your labor to be less challenging. There's so many challenges that could happen, right? At the end of the Zoom, we'll go into questions. So I do see questions about Maca and hormones and other things. Ingredients, things that we don't want to take during certain trimesters, right? Flaxseed to induce pregnancy towards the third trimester, aloe digest as well. But I mean, I think that many women who are prenatal, they have been consuming aloe digest without any issues. So it really depends. You have to listen to your body. And talk Maca and hormones if you can, please. Maca for hormones. Well, I know that it's an energy source. It is sourced from the Andes. It's an energy carbohydrate, but it's very much in our holistic pack. So how that might induce pregnancy as well, you just have to be delicate with it. Of course, if you're going to be working out physically, I think it'll go into muscle repair and how it can aid in the development of lean muscle mass. Okay, thank you for sharing that in the chat. And then Ashley, is there anything you'd like to close out with really now having your son being so healthy, and any advice you might want to give to women who are in their gestation period?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is it's never too late to start with these products. I think I saw someone ask, is week 33 too late? Absolutely not. The sooner that you can get it into your body, the better. Not only will your child develop their eating habits. I have full belief that the way that my son eats, he'll eat anything and everything. I mean, I know it's attributed to how I eat in front of him, but I think that because of how I ate during my pregnancy and because of these products, like when I make a power shake for myself, he rips it out of my hand. Like he gets so offended if I don't offer some to him first. So my breast milk was green postpartum because of the polyphenols and the nutrients that were showing up in the milk directly. And so it's absolutely never too late to transition to this lifestyle. It really makes a huge difference. My son, there were so many markers that he was ahead of, milestones that he was ahead of. His pediatrician was just blown away. And then I introduced him to the products. But I mean, he started teething at 3 months. It's really kind of crazy how I noticed how fast he developed in certain areas, and I feel it's fully attributed to the nutrition of these products for sure.
And you could see in his eyes, I mean, the babies in their eyes, like you can tell how healthy. When I just recently saw Mateo in January, how healthy he really was, and how he did take to all the shakes that you were sharing with him. So good job, Mama. And yeah, so stay tuned. We're gonna have Q&A after this, and if anyone has questions for Ashley, she'll be on. So I would love to move over to my next guest, Shannon Shang, and she is in Venice, California at the moment. And I just saw her. She just visited the East Coast with her son and her partner. And it was such a pleasure to see how she and her son have this really healthy relationship with food and with Purium, really, with a lifestyle that built him. So I had met Shannon years ago, prior to even me starting Purium 7 years ago. We were old friends, and I'd love for Shannon to share her preconception to conception story for prenatal health. And can you unmute, Shannon? There she goes.
Carmela.
Hi.
Thank you, Ashley, for sharing, and thank you, Carmela, for having me on. So I started the products, like Carmela said, like 7 years ago. We weren't, my husband and I weren't trying to conceive, but we just wanted to have a healthier lifestyle in general. Finally, I believe I was 37, and I was just kind of like, well, I think this is the time we want to try to have a baby. And the only way that felt natural for me was to get my mental state and physical state kind of in alignment of preparing to bring a new child in my life. And so Peter and I decided that we wanted to both do a cleanse together. We both did the 10-day cleanse, and we're like, okay, after doing the 10-day cleanse, we're going to try for 30 days and have, like, you know, do the core 4 or the lifestyle for the next 30 days just to try. Surprisingly enough, I basically, after the 10-day cleanse, I was going to Thailand the next week, and we're like, okay, well, we just did it. Let's just give it a shot. And Peter and I conceived on our first try at 37, and had a very, very healthy boy, Bodhi, at 38 years old. And I mean, I was certainly shocked, because it's, you know, for my entire life, I mean, I didn't even know if I was able to get pregnant at all. And due to kind of detoxing my body and really focusing on my health during this time period. And I was just like shocked that, like, within 10 days, like, you know, I know so many people who are in that age range that are, you know, going through 3 rounds of IVF and still not able to, and they're like vegetarian and everything. And I just feel that through the superfoods of, like, you know, how it detoxes it through the heavy metals and everything else, like I almost felt that it was a miracle. So during my pregnancy, you know, I just kind of stayed like Ashley through the core 4. And finally I gave birth when I was 38. And what I saw that was like a huge difference was that the moment that he was born, how alert he was. Like, it was just like the second that he was born, he was like wide awake and like already bopping and just like going, you know, it was just he was just such a healthy baby. And like throughout his whole life, I drank it during breastfeeding, and he was just very much reaching like the mental markers that were like, communication, eye contact, um, um, like walking, just all of those markers were just really ahead of schedule. And also being able to be like really into like eating the greens, like less connected to like sugar at a very early age. And I think another big part was that, because I was older, a lot of my fears kind of stemmed from and he was a boy, was like was with vaccines. And I saw a huge difference of like after he got a vaccine, like after I doubled up on a vaccine, and he lost his sense of speech for about 2 weeks, and it scared me as a mom. And after researching the heavy metals, I just put him on a crack chlorella pills from Purium, and also the Power Shake along. And within like just maybe a week of doing that.
Fulvic Zeolite as well, you had used.
Yeah, I did that as well. Yeah. And from that, like within a week, he started regaining his motor skills and his speech patterns back. And it became such a huge concern that I ended up delaying his vaccines by like 6 months to a year, because like there was another time where after getting it, he ended up like just running around in a circle and hitting his head against the wall. I mean, it's very, very scary as a mother to kind of see such a huge difference from one day to the next. And like after that, I just did another week of the heavy metal detox through Carmela's suggestion and just researching. And now he's 5 years old. He speaks 3 languages, really heavily into sports and very active in personality. He already at 4 years old started his own business. And so I feel like a lot of his major mental progress kind of stemmed from me taking a very active part of his nutrition. And for that, like, I'm incredibly grateful, because I know other families who are really dealing and struggling with their children with like ADD, on spectrum. And, I just highly recommend the products. And I'm just like, why are you having your kid on Ritalin? Like get your kid off the Ritalin. Just try to have them be gluten-free for a while, and adding superfoods. Like, there's nothing to lose in that, in having your kid eat healthy. So for that, like, I'm feeling very blessed. And now I'm 42. And I'm, because we were kind of in a danger zone at 37, 38, like I'm actually very open to seeing about having another child. And, just having the possibility of that when I see so many other parents struggling, is just, being in the world of possibilities is really incredible. And for that, I'm like very, very thankful.
We met in that world, Shannon. I know, because Shannon is a well-known artist in her own right as a jewelry designer, bespoke jewelry designer, and sort of a celebrity in the Burning Man community as well. And so she makes sure her voice is heard with people who are not necessarily in the holistic health field, but that are really looking for solutions. And it's really being a model for them, and really just Bodhi walking around the way, how vibrant and healthy you and him are. It shows it shows that how the superfoods have helped your overall health as well.
I mean, I consider like, you know, genetics, but like I was just in Vegas and I'm 42 years old and I just got carded. And I was like, no, I got carded 3 times in a day. Like, I was just like, the first time I was like, oh, that's nice. Like the second time I was like, huh. I was like, really? And then they like look at the ID, they're like, oh, wow. You know, and I mean, just like I see a huge difference like when I first started, and I think I was like 34 or 35 when I first started on the lifestyle and products. And to be honest with you, I have more energy and vibrancy, you know, like, you know, 7, 8 years later after giving birth. And I never thought that was actually even possible. You know, I had like major crashes throughout the day. You know, always tired. And like now I'm waking up and like, you know, I have I have more on my plate than I did back then, just simply by like, you know, the business that I'm running, and also, you know, taking care of a 5-year-old who has a ton of energy, you know. And I was just kind of like, wow, like I'm really surprised how I'm keeping up considering how I felt before. So for that, just like overall health wise, you know, it's just been really helping with my vibrancy of life, and also understanding how important nutrition is. And like, you know, like a lot of people say like, oh, I'm just getting older, you know, and like they're like, oh, I'm just getting older, this is just the natural progression of life, of how we feel in our body. And like for me, like it's totally the opposite. I'm like, wow, I'm like almost 10 years older, but I feel 10 years younger, you know. And so I'm just kind of like, well, let's just like keep on going and see how much better I could feel just being an active participant in your own well-being. I think taking the responsibility of your own health and mentality is a huge part of how we view aging, you know. And it's not, it's like we can grow older and wiser, but we don't have to, like our bodies don't have to necessarily feel that way, and having it have this mental state of like, oh, this is just how life is, you know. Just being in charge of your own mentality and health, I think is really empowering. And it does really start with kind of the standpoint of like, you are what you eat, you know. Like there's a reason why that phrase is like, when you understand that you are what you eat, your body is going to feel how whatever you put into it on top of it, then like you're taking responsibility for how you feel.
Yes, thank you so much for that inspiration, Shannon. I think just hearing your story again makes me remember your whole prenatal story. I mean, I remember both yours and Ashley's prenatal story, and how you are today as moms. You're just impeccable moms with these children, and you're both glowing.
And I see some people on the thread like Brooke about the green vaccine, and this is actually pretty remarkable. So I've been around now 5 waves of COVID. And, you know, I'm all for anybody doing whatever it takes for them to feel good about, you know, their health, you know. So I've been around kids with their nannies, with the parents, all having COVID. I've been in a festival that, like, in the same event, you know, like 50 people that I knew personally ended up getting it or whatever, you know. Or maybe not 50, like 20, you know. I was just at another event that had like 5 people who ended up getting it very close by. And then just, I mean, even Peter ended up getting COVID, and me and OD for some reason. Maybe it's, you know, it's partially from type O, but also I feel that religiously I'm just boosted up my immunity with the superfoods every day. And I think that was a big contribution of either not getting it or having it with very little symptoms. You know, I'm still waiting for my antibodies test. But, you know, I think that's a big part of just being healthy from the inside out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shannon. That was amazing to hear the full story the way it was shared today. And what you did hear from both of them was that they didn't do prenatal vitamins. They were on the core 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just want everybody to grasp that this community is mostly focused on whole food nutrients and our superfood nutrients instead of what everybody is really being recommended, which is the prenatal vitamins. Specifically, David Sandoval, he had mentioned in a number of chats in our superfoods, Sacred Superfoods group, that prenatal vitamins are not ideal. He straight out said that. And he is saying, well, spirulina, as a prenatal yoga teacher, I recommend every client of mine to take spirulina as a prenatal vitamin source, as well as the core 4 additional. Although spirulina is in the Power Shake, isolated nutrients are not as absorbable and they're not our lifestyle. We definitely want whole foods versus isolation because it's about absorption. So I would love, thank you, Shannon. And I'm going to pass the mic over to actually a council member who has her own prenatal story to share about these products. And that's Taz Ferreira in Montreal, Quebec. I'm going to have to unmute her. There we go.
Thank you so much, Carmela. Thank you so much, everyone. So my story is a little different than everyone's, right? So we didn't have Biomedic at the time when I started my nutrition with my son, but what I can compare it to is post-pregnancy, right? Post-delivery. After having my daughter, delivering her was super easy, but that's when everything came crashing down for me. You know, it's the realization that, okay, we get taught about, you know, pregnancy and what to do, but what happens to our bodies after? That's something I was not expecting. And when I had my daughter, the post, just understanding my body, it didn't feel like my body, right? It felt like someone took over my body and I was dealing with post, right? But when I had my son, now I can compare it to what it was when I had my daughter. My son, the recovery was incredible. I think I needed at least 2 to 3 weeks of recovery. And this is natural birth. Okay, after having my daughter, this is not even a C-section, natural birth. But after having my son, it was literally a couple hours. I was back into shape. Everything went back into place. I had no issues. You know, everything we go through, like, I don't know how graphic we want to get, but everything we go through after, it recovered so quickly. And I attribute this to all the alkalizing greens. And I was taking so many greens, Carmela. I was eating my kales and my microgreens, but just the Power Shake, the chlorella, the barley grass, all of this just took it to a next level, right? And the spirulina, like what you speak about, that's so important. Spirulina by itself is nature's multivitamin. And I saw it firsthand of what it did. It helps during the pregnancy. I've heard by so many women how it's helped their placenta. They've had the cleanest placenta ever. I didn't have that experience, but my post-recovery was incredible. So I can attribute that completely. And when we start cleaning ourselves from the cellular level, it shows on our kids. And I love what one of the speakers was talking about, how they saw their son how they're learning so much. They can absorb so much more material now. It's the same thing what I've noticed with my son, is that because I ate so healthy and I put so much cellular nutrition into my body while having him, I see how much he can observe in the world. And you know, the focus and being the bright-eyed, I see that. It's so beautiful how you can compare both kids, one without the superfood nutrition and one with, and the comparison. So thank you so much, Carmela. Is there anything else we'd like to speak about?
Oh, I loved it. Thank you. Also, I didn't actually even hear all your story, so I was happy to have you come on to share this Zoom. And you'll see Taz with us every Friday and Fierce Friday. So definitely follow all these women. They're actually in our community, in the Million Mom Movement community. And I do have the fourth guest on. I'm just going to have to pull her up and ask her to come off. There she is on camera. There she is, Brittany Kaiser. So Brittany comes as a referral through Shin and Shang. So they're close friends. And she had begun her journey, I'd say in 2018. And about 2018. And she has quite a story, I tell you. You can quickly find her if you Google search her name, but she is a documentary creator. And I would love for her to come on camera and share with us her experience with these superfoods from conception to prenatal, which she now has a little over 8-week-old baby in her home. So welcome, Brittany. Take you off mute.
Thank you so much, Carmela. And thank you, Shannon, as well. I'm so excited to be here to speak to you guys today. And I think what might be helpful, although I'm here to talk about my prenatal journey and now postpartum, to start from the beginning, which is when I was introduced. Let me get on the Wi-Fi.
Yep, you're breaking up a little bit.
Second. I just got on the Wi-Fi network. Sorry.
Much better.
Can you guys hear me now? So although I know I'm here to talk about my prenatal and postpartum journey, of course, I think it's helpful as well to give some context to the beginning, which is when I started on Purium products in December 2018. I had spent the few years before that being incredibly unhealthy, traveling around the world on a flight every single day, working way too hard, burning the candle at both ends. And I decided enough was enough, that I wanted to do something good for myself. I had seen Shannon's posts of how her and her husband, Peter, were able to get into incredible shape by undertaking the transformation journey. And I wanted to know more. So I started by doing a cleanse first for 10 days. And then I felt so good after that. I actually decided to, instead of eating and drinking through Christmas and New Year's, to actually go and do a cleanse instead. So I continued for not just 30 days. I think I did this for like 45 days before I actually started having any other kind of treats or food that I was used to again. And I was absolutely glowing. I felt so good that I used this in order to get in shape for writing my book and for creating my first film. And I started to use it periodically every day in my actual diet, but also to do the kind of monthly and quarterly cleanses throughout that year. And by the end of the year, when my film got into Sundance, I did another long-term cleanse over the December break to get ready for January for the film festival. And it was the most incredible opportunity to see how quickly I changed within that year, but even in the first 30 days. And so I kept up at it. And last October, when I found out I was pregnant, I doubled down and started ordering a much bigger range of products than I had before. I started especially getting into the immunity products and into things like the aloe vera extract because I was worried about stretch marks, of course, and was really using products like the Power Shake every single day. I still do that. The apothecary nearly every day if I was not tired enough at the end of the night to forget. Using the Immunomax, using the all of the what's it called, Verisure as well, not every day obviously, but using the Verisure quite often, using Biomedic, of course, you know, while you're pregnant you can't really use the super cleanser, but the Biomedic was incredible, especially, you know, for me, I felt lucky that I had a much easier time with acid reflux and nausea than what's normally reported. And I feel like because of my diet and some of these supplements, that obviously had something to do with it. And that was an incredible experience for me to know that I was creating a situation for myself where I was having an easier time through what is usually one of the most uncomfortable periods of time of your life. And, you know, using the aloe vera extract in my water a couple times a day, I feel like really increased, you know, the elasticity of my skin. I really have nearly no stretch marks at all, which is kind of amazing considering that even though I had one baby, I looked like I was having 3. Shannon knows because she came and saw me a couple of days before I gave birth, and I had the biggest pregnancy belly you've ever seen. And also I ended up being able to give birth vaginally without any tearing. So that was incredible as well. I feel really blessed for that happening, and gave birth to a beautiful and incredibly healthy baby boy who is hitting his milestones early. He's so smart. He's incredibly healthy. The doctors are surprised at how strong he is. And I've been continuing to use all of my supplements every day. What I also found incredible is that there have been multiple times through my pregnancy and postpartum where I have been exposed to people that had coronavirus and I haven't gotten it. Which I don't understand how. I've even had people have the virus in my own household and I did not have it. And I'm using the Immunomax and the Verisure every day, and taking extra doses of it when I've been exposed, and have remained incredibly healthy, even though I'm not getting really any sleep for the past 2.5 months. And the reason why I am in a gym outfit right now is because I just did my second personal training session since postpartum, and I'm feeling and looking great so far. And I really feel like having these power shakes and this supplement regime every day is giving my body so much more nutrition than what the typical person gets, that I am having extraordinary recovery times. And I really don't feel like I haven't slept in 2.5 months. I feel a lot better than that. So for me, it has been really amazing knowing that the amount of nutrition I'm getting for myself and for my baby has been exactly the right thing, and that both of us have just had an easier time of it than what most pregnant women and young babies go through. And I couldn't be more thankful that these Purium products are a part of my daily regimen. It means that I know no matter what, that I'm going to get the nutrition that I need. I'm going to likely be much healthier than the person next to me. And that also I am able to give that to my family. I feed Purium products to my partner, to my mom, to my sister, to everyone that's around the baby, to make sure that everyone stays healthy. And that has been just so successful. I mean, I've seen my mom, who's obviously, you know, getting older, feeling so much healthier since she started integrating these into her diet. And even a lot of my other friends who are pregnant or who are new moms that I've sent packages of Purium products to as gifts, they have enjoyed that so much and found that they had a lot more energy to give to their family as well after they started using them too. So thank you again to Shin and Carmela for having me here, and good to see everyone. Thank you for listening.
Great share. And Brittany, what are your favorite products to this day?
So, I mean, Power Shake is something that I use every single day. I have both the appleberry and the plain so that I can mix it up. I change kind of the juices or fruits or other products that I put in with it, but I also use the cracked chlorella all of the time. Absolutely love that. Feel an immediate difference. I really love the what's the name of the pre-workout product that has
Can't beat this.
Yeah, can't
Can't
beat
beat
this. I mean, that is the best pre-workout product that I have ever tried in my life. Yeah, exactly. You have it right now. So much energy. Wow. It makes working out so much easier. And I'm not someone that has spent my whole life working out. Like, trust me, it's hard for me to go to the gym and work up that motivation. And so I found that to be one of the biggest boosters, especially when I should have no energy at all left to go to the gym. And that has really helped. And the aloe vera has been really special. I've used it both in my water and I've used some of it topically as well, which is not what it tells you to do, but I've used it that way and I found that amazing. And definitely the apothecary at night for being able to relax and to help your body start to produce more natural melatonin. That's an incredible help when you don't have the opportunity to sleep that much, to make sure that you are able to sleep deeply. So couldn't recommend that enough.
Well, you look wonderful. I haven't seen you in a little while. And if you see her before and after, the superfoods and after, it's incredible. You look better than you did even, before you had the baby.
Thank you so much.
And you can find her if you look up the Netflix documentary, The Great Hack. She has a background in business development with Cambridge Analytica, and she was the whistleblower. So it's a really powerful share from somebody who has a voice for freedom in our world. And that's really what our Real Food Revolution is all about. We're here helping people create freedom in their bodies and really learn how to educate our neighbors, our friends, and each person who shared, their partner is also consuming these superfoods on the lifestyle. And I loved how you touched on that, Brittany, because it's about your home environment. One can't eat really poor food while the mother is here focusing on building this baby. They need to be a co-partner. And so many women who don't eat well during their pregnancy, the man will say, well, it gives me an excuse to have that pregnancy pound on. And honestly, it's not. That's the opposite. That is the opposite of what we want to teach with prenatal health. So I'm going to open up this call to anyone who has some questions. We started a few minutes later, so I'm going to just allow that. And if you have a question, you go into, I think Jody can tell you a little bit better, but there's a raise hand.
I gotcha, Carmela. Go to participants, and at the bottom, on the bottom right, there's a little button that says more. Press on that and you'll be able to raise your hand. And while I'm here and people are raising their hands, I'm going to do the whole corporate thing and just mention these are stories. These are individual stories. Different products will affect your body differently. It is important that you always listen to your body and do your own research. These are these individual people's stories. These are not necessarily corporate recommendations, and I have to do that because we got to follow all the rules. So I'm going to put that out there for you guys.
Thanks, Jody. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. In the meantime, I did make a list of some books that I personally share with my prenatal clients, so I figured it would be a good opportunity to share now too. But if anyone has any questions specifically for the speakers or for anybody here, please share them in the chat as well.
Zena's asking about in her inquiry into the Biomedic, and it's up further here. Zena, I don't see it. If you want to press it again, there's a lot of things in the chat. Does the Biomedic help with acid reflux and nausea, or is it more of a probiotic supplement? Please advise.
So the Biomedic is a probiotic and a prebiotic. It would definitely, it's not specifically alkaline focus based. That's I think the job and the function of what the Power Shake or the Green Spectrum would be, or Love in the first trimester. So you want to alkaline and flood your cells, but the Biomedic is for absorption. So you can absorb all of those nutrients you're flooding your cells with. So it's a catalyst, right? It'll help to catalyze the absorption. And without the alkalinity, you can have salads, you can have bushels of salads if you wanted, but just with one shake, you can have 6 to 7 servings. So this is what we want to encourage as well, because we know how convenience is a huge deal for mamas. And I did want to mention Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, and she's Ina May Gaskin. I can't not, this is when I was pregnant, these are the books I went to. These are holistic books. It's not what to expect when you're expecting. It's much more in depth. It's more of a holistic approach. And this is why I'm mentioning it. Ina May Gaskin, A Guide to Childbirth, and then Bountiful, Beautiful, and Blissful. So this is the Khalsa Way mentor of mine, and that's Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa, Bountiful, Beautiful, and Blissful. It's just a gem. Like anyone who's having a baby, the holistic way, please follow it. She encourages actually vegan raw dieting. So we can provide that with the Purium lifestyle as well. Our shakes are raw and our products are vegan. Gurmukh Kaur Khalsa, I'll put it in the chat. Nurture. So this is an author, Erica Chidi Cohen. She's a doula and holistic practitioner. Really great book for prenatal support. It's called Nurture, A Modern Guide to Pregnancy, Birth, Early Motherhood. This is a go-to for a lot of my clients. And there's another one that's another holistic approach to prenatal support, and it's Superwoman RX. And the author's name is Tashin Bhatia. I'll have to write it because it's going to be a little harder to, but she's an integrative health doctor and holistic practitioner. So this is the direction we want to steer, because they do also complement our lifestyle. They really confirm that it is the way, whole food nutrition. And when you look at our superfoods being it all organic from a whole food source and through 30 years of organic farming, you can rely on the insurance of the superfoods. Do you have any other questions? About the detox. So please go to the Sacred Superfoods Birth and Beyond Facebook group. There are actual files where you can find a shopping guide, prenatal and breastfeeding grocery shopping guide, and modified cleanse indications. So there's a file you can print, and I recommend that you go there. So we have a modified detoxification process. When you're already on the Biomedic, when you're using superfoods, you are by nature detoxifying yourself of inflammation, of toxins, but it's safe. It's a safe and effective way to do it, as opposed to other cleanses that may rob, integral nutrients from what you're giving to the baby. Yes, thank you, Jody, for posting that. Wonderful. There's that book. And if no one else has questions in the chat, there is one more author I wanted to share with you. Superwoman RX and Tashin Bhatia, PhD. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming on. Thank you so much for the speakers for sharing their very vulnerable story. And we will see you next month. We always host the third Wednesday of every month, a lunch and learn, but please stay tuned to our Fierce Friday Zooms, which are 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, every week Friday. And we would love for you to invite another guest and keep on attending. See you again next month, guys, or see you on Fierce Friday.